As the transport pods docked with the SES Star of Liberty, the airlocks hissed open, revealing the two newest members of its crew, Cadets Alex Nova Reynolds and Jamie Hawk Lee. Stepping out into the hangar bay, their armor crackled and hissed, a thin layer of frost sublimating in the warmer air of the ship. The cold of space travel, even in the brief transit from the Academy's orbital platform, had seeped into the very metal of their suits. The rest of the crew in the hangar paused to watch the cadets' arrival. As Alex and Jamie made their way through the hangar, the frost on their armor melting away, they were directed by a woman clad in the crisp, functional uniform of Super Earth's military. Her rank insignia identified her as a senior officer, and she gestured authoritatively towards the front of the SES Star of Liberty, where the heart of the ship's operations lay. Approaching the main console, a marvel of technology and the nerve center of the ship, the cadets found themselves in the presence of three key figures. The Admiral, a seasoned veteran whose medals and decorations spoke volumes of his experience and leadership in countless campaigns, stood with an imposing posture. His gaze was fixed on the hologram projection emanating from the console, displaying strategic maps and real-time data from various points of interest in the galaxy. Beside the Admiral were two other figures, both renowned helldivers known throughout the fleet for their valor and expertise. Chief Lucas, with his rugged appearance and an aura of quiet strength, was known for his tactical acumen and unwavering resolve in the heat of battle. His reputation was matched by that of Master Sergeant Noctis, a figure shrouded in as much mystery as his nickname suggested. The three men were engrossed in a discussion, analyzing the holographic data before them. The projection illuminated their faces with a soft, ethereal glow, casting long shadows on the floor. It displayed a constellation of potential hotspots and enemy movements, alongside mission parameters and logistical information critical to the Helldivers' operations. As Alex and Jamie approached, the Admiral turned to acknowledge them, his expression shifting to one of mild curiosity. The introduction of new blood to the crew was not a rare event, yet the Admiral always took a moment to assess each new member personally. His keen eyes seemed to measure their resolve and potential with just a glance. With the weight of the moment upon them, Alex and Jamie stepped forward to formally introduce themselves to the Admiral and the two seasoned Helldivers. The hangar's ambient noise seemed to fade into the background, focusing the scene on this pivotal introduction. "Sir, Cadet Alex Nova Reynolds reporting for duty," Alex said, his voice steady but imbued with the unmistakable undertone of eagerness to engage in the tasks ahead. He offered a crisp salute, emblematic of his recent academy training and respect for the chain of command. Alex's eyes, a reflection of determination and intellect, met the Admiral's gaze, silently conveying his readiness to contribute to the mission's success. "And I'm Cadet Jamie Hawk Lee," Jamie added, his salute equally precise. Jamie's demeanor was calm, yet an observant onlooker could detect a hint of the intense focus and sharp instincts that had earned him his call sign. "I'm honored to join the crew of the SES Star of Liberty, and ready to stand with my fellow Helldivers against any threat we face." The Admiral returned their salutes, his expression softening slightly as if acknowledging the potential he saw in them. "Cadet Reynolds, Cadet Lee, welcome aboard. Your records speak highly of your capabilities, and I expect you'll live up to them," he said, his voice carrying both the weight of command and the hint of encouragement. Chief Lucas stepped forward, offering a firm handshake that spoke volumes of the brotherhood among Helldivers. "Good to have fresh talent on board. The galaxy doesn't give us many breaks, but we make our own luck here," he said, his tone carrying the confidence of a seasoned warrior who had faced countless challenges. Master Sergeant Noctis, known for his reserved nature, simply nodded in acknowledgement, his gaze piercing yet not unkind. "Your training has prepared you for what's to come, but remember, the real lessons begin now in the field," he imparted, his voice low but clear, hinting at the depth of experience behind his words. The Admiral's finger traced across the holographic display, bringing into focus the moon Fenrir III, located in the strategic yet tumultuous umlaut sector. The moon's surface, rendered in stunning detail on the hologram, was marked with various points of interest, but two locations were highlighted significantly: each representing a critical mission objective for the newcomers. Fenrir-3 has become a breeding ground for the Terminids, a highly aggressive alien species known for their rapid reproduction and devastating swarm tactics, the Admiral began, his voice carrying the weight of the threat they posed. Your first mission is to purge the hatcheries. These are not just any nests. They're highly fortified and protected by the Terminids' best defenders. The hatcheries are the heart of their expansion efforts on Fenrir-3. Destroying them will significantly hinder the Terminids' ability to increase their numbers and threaten nearby systems, the Admiral explained. Once the hatcheries have been dealt with, your next task is to eliminate a massive Terminid swarm that's been amassing nearby. Intelligence reports suggest this swarm is preparing to launch a large-scale assault on critical outposts in the Umlaut sector. This won't be a straightforward fight, the Admiral continued. The swarm is vast and includes various subspecies of Terminids, each with its unique capabilities. Coordination, firepower, and situational awareness will be key to your success. These missions are critical, not just for the safety of the Umlaut sector, but as a statement of our resolve against the Terminid threat. You'll be outfitted with the latest in Helldiver weaponry and gear. Empowered by the Admiral's briefing, Alex and Jamie prepared themselves mentally and physically for the daunting tasks ahead. Their mission on Fenrir-3 would be their inaugural foray into the harsh realities of combat as Helldivers, operating under the direct command of Chief Lucas and Master Sergeant Noctis on the moon's unforgiving surface. Before their departure, they were taken to the armory, where they were outfitted with the latest Helldiver equipment. The quartermaster issued them advanced combat suits designed for the specific environmental and combat conditions of Fenrir-3. These suits were engineered with adaptive temperature control for the moon's extreme climates, reinforced plating for added protection against Terminid attacks, and integrated life support systems to ensure survivability in hostile atmospheres. Additionally, Alex and Jamie received an arsenal of weaponry tailored to counter the Terminid threat effectively. This included high-caliber assault rifles with incendiary rounds to pierce through the chitinous armor of their foes, portable missile launchers for destroying the heavily fortified hatcheries, and specialized grenades that emitted a frequency designed to disorient and repel the swarm. A compact, deployable drone system was also provided to offer aerial reconnaissance and support, capable of delivering precision strikes or providing temporary shields in critical moments. Once equipped, they joined Chief Lucas and Master Sergeant Noctis in the briefing room for final mission preparations. Chief Lucas outlined the tactical approach to purging the hatcheries. Stealth and precision are key, he emphasized, detailing the plan to infiltrate the perimeters undetected using the natural terrain for cover. Once in position, they would breach the hatcheries with explosives, engage any defenders with overwhelming firepower, and ensure complete destruction of the nests to prevent any possibility of regeneration. Master Sergeant Noctis, known for his expertise in counter-swarm tactics, briefed them on handling the massive Terminid swarm. "We'll need to be mobile and adaptable," Noctis explained. "The swarm will try to overwhelm us with sheer numbers. Use the terrain to your advantage, funnel them into choke points, and utilize your area of effect weapons to maximize damage. Remember, every Terminid you take down is one less threat to the mission." The plan also included extraction protocols. Once the objectives were completed, a signal would be sent for an immediate extraction by one of the Star of Liberty's fast attack craft, which would be on standby to extract them from the moon's surface. As Alex and Jamie listened intently, absorbing every detail, the reality of the mission settled in. They were about to step into a battle that would test their skills, their resolve, and their ability to work as part of a team under extreme conditions. With their preparations complete, Alex, Jamie, Chief Lucas, and Master Sergeant Noctis made their way to the launch bay, where the Hell pods awaited them. These specialized drop pods were the standard means of deploying Helldivers directly into combat zones from orbit, a testament to the rapid response capabilities of Super Earth's elite forces. The launch bay was a hive of activity, with technicians and support staff making final checks on the pods and the associated launch mechanisms. The Hell pods themselves were imposing, sleek yet rugged capsules designed to protect their occupants from the extreme conditions of atmospheric entry and provide a modicum of firepower upon landing. Each pod was equipped with thrusters for navigation and control during descent, as well as a hardened exterior capable of withstanding small arms fire and shrapnel. As they approached their designated pods, the team was met with an air of solemnity. The moment before deployment was always one of reflection, of contemplation of the mission ahead and the dangers it entailed. Chief Lucas and Master Sergeant Noctis offered some last-minute advice, reminders of the training and tactics that would see them through the challenges to come. Alex and Jamie, despite being newcomers to actual combat, exuded a quiet confidence. They had trained extensively for moments like this, and while the reality of their situation was daunting, they were determined to prove themselves worthy of the Helldivers mantle. One by one, they climbed into their hellpods, securing themselves within the compact interiors. The interior of each pod was minimalist, containing only the essential controls for emergency maneuvers and communication with the SES Star of Liberty once on the surface. A heads-up display, HUD, on the interior hatch provided vital mission information, including objectives, navigation data, and the status of their fellow Helldivers. As the launch sequence initiated, the bay's lights dimmed, and a powerful hum filled the air, a precursor to the explosive force that would soon propel them towards Fenrir 3. The team exchanged final acknowledgements through their comms, a mutual expression of trust and camaraderie. With a thunderous roar, the Hellpods were ejected from the SES Star of Liberty, hurtling towards Fenrir 3's atmosphere. The initial acceleration was intense, pressing them into their seats as the pods pierced the moon's thin atmosphere, flames engulfing the exterior as they descended at breakneck speed. As they neared the surface, the pod's thrusters fired, slowing their descent to a controlled drop. With a final jolt, the Hellpods landed on the moon's surface, doors blowing open to reveal the alien landscape of Fenrir 3. The sudden transition from the claustrophobic interior of the Hellpod to the vast, hostile expanse of Fenrir 3 was jarring. The pod's doors blasted open, expelling Alex, Jamie, Chief Lucas, and Master Sergeant Noctis onto the moon's surface, which was a stark landscape of jagged rocks and deep crevasses, bathed in the dim light of the distant sun. The air was thick with tension, a palpable sense of danger looming over them like a dark cloud. No sooner had they oriented themselves than a patrol of Terminids emerged from the shadows. The Terminids, resembling nightmarish amalgamations of insect and reptile, moved with unsettling speed and coordination. Their chitinous armor glistened under the alien sun, and their mandibles clicked menacingly as they advanced on the Helldivers. In this moment of high tension, Alex, the cadet who had always excelled in simulations and tactical assessments, found himself overwhelmed by the sudden shock of real combat. Despite all the training and mental preparation, nothing could have fully prepared him for the visceral reality of facing down an enemy intent on their destruction. Acting on pure instinct and driven by a primal surge of adrenaline, Alex forgot the strategic doctrines ingrained during his academy days. He lifted his rifle, the weight of the weapon both familiar and strangely foreign in his hands, and opened fire on the advancing Terminids. "For Super Earth!" Alex shouted, a battle cry that was part defiance, part rallying call, echoing across the desolate landscape. The gunfire drew the immediate attention of the Terminids, their screeches filling the air as they responded to the threat. Bullets tore through chitin and flesh, sending some of the creatures tumbling to the ground, but their numbers seemed only to grow, the initial casualties doing little to deter the swarm's advance. Jamie, Chief Lucas, and Master Sergeant Noctis reacted swiftly, joining the fray while maintaining the composure and discipline characteristic of seasoned Helldivers. They laid down a withering field of fire, their weapons designed specifically to counter the biological horrors they now faced. Their actions were precise, each movement calculated to maximize efficiency and minimize exposure. Chief Lucas quickly moved to Alex's side, his voice calm but firm over the din of battle. "Focus, cadet! Remember your training!" he shouted, trying to snap Alex out of his frenzied state. Together, they fell back to a more defensible position, using the rugged terrain to their advantage. Master Sergeant Noctis, meanwhile, coordinated their counterattack, directing Jamie to target the Terminids' vulnerabilities. The team worked with lethal efficiency, their training overcoming the initial chaos induced by Alex's impulsive reaction. The skirmish was intense but brief. The Helldivers' superior tactics and firepower eventually forced the Terminids to retreat, leaving behind the fallen members of their patrol. In the aftermath, as the adrenaline waned, Alex felt a rush of mixed emotions. Guilt for the lapse in discipline, relief at having survived, and a newfound respect for the realities of war. In the tense silence following the skirmish, the only sounds were the distant alien calls of Fenrir 3's wildlife and the heavy breathing of the Helldivers, catching their breaths after the intense battle. The air was thick with the acrid smell of discharged weapons and the alien ichor of the fallen Terminids. It was in this charged atmosphere that Master Sergeant Noctis, his expression a storm of anger and disappointment, approached Alex. Noctis's approach was deliberate, his steps measured yet heavy, each footfall echoing ominously on the rocky terrain. His figure, imposing and authoritative, cast a long shadow that seemed to envelop Alex, making the cadet acutely aware of the gravity of his mistake. "Cadet, what the fuck are you thinking? Have you forgotten everything you were trained for at the academy?" Noctis's voice was a harsh reprimand, cutting through the silence like a knife. His frustration was palpable, born of a lifetime spent in the relentless, unforgiving theater of war, a place where discipline and adherence to protocol weren't just principles, but necessities for survival. "Get yourself together, boy, or God sees I will end your madness right here, right now," Noctis continued, his tone leaving no room for ambiguity. It was a stark warning, underscoring the seriousness of Alex's lapse in judgment and its potential consequences not just for him, but for the entire squad. Alex, still reeling from the immediate aftermath of the battle and now confronted by Noctis's ire, felt a deep sense of shame. The adrenaline that had once fueled his reckless action now gave way to a sobering clarity. He realized the magnitude of his error, how his impulsiveness could have jeopardized the mission and put his fellow Helldivers at risk. With his head bowed, Alex began to apologize, his voice barely above a whisper, yet carrying the weight of his sincere remorse. I'm sorry, Master Sergeant. To you, Chief Lucas, Jamie. I let you all down. It won't happen again. I lost control, and there's no excuse for my actions," Alex said, struggling to meet Noctis's gaze, the gravity of his mistake reflected in his eyes. The apology, while heartfelt, hung heavy in the air. The other members of the squad, Chief Lucas and Jamie, listened in silence, their expressions a complex tapestry of disappointment. Noctis, his anger giving way to a grudging acceptance of Alex's apology, nodded slowly. "War is the ultimate test, cadet. It will push you to your limits, challenge every belief you hold dear. Today was a lesson, one I hope you'll remember. We're only as strong as our weakest link, and in the Helldivers, there's no room for error," he said, his tone now more instructive than punitive. In the aftermath of the unexpected skirmish and the lessons learned, the squad's focus returned to the primary objective, the purging of the Terminid hatcheries on Fenrir 3. The element of surprise, crucial to their initial plan, was compromised, but the mission's urgency and importance remained unchanged. Chief Lucas, now taking the lead, quickly formulated a new strategy to adapt to their current situation. "We've lost the advantage of stealth, but our mission remains the same. We need to move quickly and decisively," Chief Lucas stated, his voice firm, signaling the shift back to operational mode. The hatcheries, a critical node in the Terminids' expansion efforts, had to be destroyed to disrupt the enemy's ability to increase their numbers and pose a greater threat to the sector. The squad gathered around a portable tactical display Lucas had deployed from his gear. The screen showed a detailed map of the terrain leading to the hatcheries, marked with the quickest yet safest route to their target. The hatcheries are located in a valley surrounded by steep cliffs. "It's a natural fortress, but we can use this to our advantage," Lucas explained, pointing to a narrow pass that offered the most direct approach. Jamie, still vigilant after the initial encounter, suggested, We should assume the enemy is on high alert now. We'll need to stay sharp and cover each other more than ever. Master Sergeant Noctis, leveraging his experience in similar operations, added, "Let's keep our formation tight. We'll advance using bounding overwatch. Move in pairs, one covers while the other moves. It'll keep us safer from ambushes." The plan set, the squad quickly dismantled their temporary camp and secured their gear, ready to move out. The trek to the hatcheries was treacherous. The terrain of Fenrir 3 was unforgiving, with sharp rocks, sudden drops, and an eerie silence that belied the dangers hidden within. As they navigated through the desolate landscape, every shadow and rustle of wind was a potential threat. Alex, mindful of his earlier lapse, was doubly focused, his senses attuned to the slightest sign of danger. The weight of his rifle in his hands was a constant reminder of the stakes at hand, and he moved with deliberate care, ensuring his actions were measured and in sync with the squad's movements. The approach to the valley took them through a series of narrow gorges, the walls rising ominously on either side. This natural choke point was both a blessing and a curse. While it offered some protection from the sides, it also limited their maneuverability. Chief Lucas led the way, his eyes scanning for any sign of Terminid activity, while Noctis brought up the rear, his experienced gaze missing nothing. As they neared the valley, the ominous silhouette of the Terminid hatcheries came into view, a stark reminder of the enemy's presence on the moon. The structures were as foreboding as the intelligence reports had suggested, with their twisted organic architecture seeming to pulse with malevolent intent. Chief Lucas signaled a halt, and the squad crouched among the rocks at the valley's edge, observing the hatcheries from a distance. "This is it," Lucas whispered. "Let's make sure those hatcheries are history. Remember, we're doing this for Super Earth and the safety of the entire sector." With their resolve strengthened and their strategy clear, the squad prepared to engage the enemy, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in the heart of the Terminid stronghold. The destruction of the hatcheries was not just a mission, it was a critical blow against an enemy that threatened the galaxy, and Alex, Jamie, Chief Lucas, and Master Sergeant were determined to see it through, no matter the cost. As the squad commenced their assault on the Terminid hatcheries, they moved with a precision and coordination honed by rigorous training and the hard-earned experience of countless missions. The narrow pass leading into the valley served as both their path forward and a potential bottleneck against any pursuing or ambushing Terminids. Understanding this, Chief Lucas had them advance in a tactical formation optimized for both offense and defense. Alex and Jamie, now fully integrated into the rhythm of the squad, took point, moving in sync with each other. They advanced in short, controlled bursts, using the rugged terrain for cover, pausing only to provide covering fire for each other or to neutralize any Terminid threats that emerged. The Terminids, alerted to their presence from the earlier encounter, attempted to mount a defense. Small patrols of the alien creatures, their forms a grotesque blend of insectoid and reptilian features, skittered out from the shadows of the valley's cliffs, mandibles clicking and claws scraping against the stone. For every Terminid that appeared, the squad had a response. Jamie, with his marksmanship, took down targets from a distance, each shot calculated and precise, ensuring that no enemy could get close. Alex, meanwhile, demonstrated a newfound focus and determination, his earlier lapse now fuel for their resolve. They engaged the enemy with disciplined bursts of fire, each round aimed with careful intent as they had been trained. Chief Lucas and Master Sergeant provided the strategic oversight and firepower to support their advance. Lucas, with his deep understanding of squad tactics, directed their movement, identifying threats and calling out targets. Noctis, ever the veteran of countless skirmishes, moved with a lethal grace, his weapon a mere extension of his will, dispatching Terminids with a grim efficiency. The squad's movement through the valley was like a deadly dance, each member playing their part flawlessly, their actions a testament to the Helldivers' creed, precision, unity, and the unyielding pursuit of their objective. Their progress was measured not just in the distance covered, but in the number of Terminids they eliminated, each fallen enemy a step closer to their goal. As they approached the hatcheries, the resistance intensified. The Terminids, seemingly driven by a primal instinct to protect their breeding grounds, launched a desperate counterattack. Swarms of the creatures poured out from the hatcheries, a tidal wave of chitin and fury. The squad reached the outer perimeter of the terminid hatcheries, the grotesque organic structures standing as monuments to the alien threat. With the plan set, Jamie prepared to dash into the heart of danger, grenades in hand, ready to deliver a crippling blow to the terminid's breeding efforts on Fenrir III. The rest of the squad, positioned strategically among the rocks and crevices of the valley, readied their weapons for the pivotal moment. As Jamie sprinted towards the first hatchery opening, the tension among the squad was palpable. In a swift motion, Jamie pulled the pin and lobbed a grenade into the dark maw of the hatchery hole. The explosive device arced through the air, disappearing into the depths before detonating with a thunderous roar. The resulting explosion was a mixture of fire and shrapnel, obliterating the eggs within and causing the structure around the opening to collapse, sealing it effectively. In the brief moment of triumph, the ground beneath their feet began to quiver. The initial tremors, subtle and unnerving, quickly escalated into violent shakes that threatened to throw them off balance. The squad exchanged bewildered looks, their experienced minds racing to understand this new development. Then, without warning, the earth erupted in a shower of dirt and alien debris. From the depths below the hatchery, a colossal monster emerged, the Bile Titan. A behemoth of the terminid species, the creature was a nightmare brought to life. Towering over the battlefield, its body was a grotesque mass of chitin and pulsating flesh, with long, sinewy limbs that ended in razor-sharp claws. Its head, if it could be called that, was a maw filled with rows of jagged teeth, from which dripped a corrosive bile that sizzled on contact with the ground. The appearance of the Bile Titan instantly shifted the dynamics of the battlefield. Jamie, caught in the open, dove for cover, narrowly avoiding a swipe from one of the creature's massive limbs. However, a spew of corrosive bile reached Jamie, melting his armor. The screams of Jamie were nightmarish as the acid penetrated his body and began to consume him alive. It took only a few seconds for the hellish liquid to dissolve Jamie's body into a liquid mixture of metal, blood, and bones. The rest of the Helldivers, witnessing both the monstrous emergence of the Bile Titan and the horrifying demise of their comrade Jamie, were momentarily paralyzed by shock. The grotesque death of one of their own, reduced to nothing but a gruesome slurry right before their eyes, was a grim reminder of the peril they faced on Fenrir III. The sense of loss was palpable, a heavy weight that threatened to crush their resolve. In the midst of this chaos, Chief Lucas, driven by a mix of rage and desperation, attempted to reach out to the SES Star of Liberty, orbiting high above them. He screamed into the comms, hoping to bridge the vast distance with his voice, to call down the might of their starship against the abomination they faced. But his efforts were met with static and silence. The valley, with its steep cliffs and alien geology, seemed to swallow his transmissions whole, leaving them isolated and alone on the surface. "God fucking damn it!" Chief Lucas screamed, the frustration and helplessness boiling over. His voice, usually calm and commanding, was now laced with anger and despair. He cursed under his breath, his ire turning towards the intelligence division that had so grossly underestimated the threats on Fenrir III. "Fuck the intelligence for their poor job," he continued to curse, his words echoing off the valley walls, a testament to their dire situation. The squad, still reeling from the loss of Jamie, rallied around Lucas's display of raw emotion. In the face of unspeakable horror and overwhelming odds, it was this, anger, determination, and a refusal to be defeated, that galvanized them. They understood the stakes had never been higher, and their survival depended not just on their combat skills, but on their ability to unite in the face of adversity. As the squad regrouped, their resolve hardened by the tragic loss of Jamie and spurred by Chief Lucas's impassioned leadership, they prepared to take a stand against the Bile Titan. Lucas, drawing on their extensive arsenal of Helldiver tech, retrieved a metal flare from his gear. This was no ordinary signal device, it was an orbital laser beacon, designed to call down a devastating strike from the SES Star of Liberty above. With precision born of experience, Lucas activated the beacon, setting its coordinates before hurling it towards the monstrous Bile Titan. The flare arced through the air, its trajectory aimed to bring the full might of the orbital laser down upon the creature. However, fate, it seemed, had other plans. The beacon landed not at the feet of the Titan as intended, but alarmingly close to its massive, clawed legs. Before the squad could react, a new threat revealed itself. A stalker terminid, a creature known for its cunning and intelligence within the alien hierarchy, emerged from its camouflage. The stalker, with its lithe body and sharp features, moved with a disturbing grace. It spotted the beacon, understanding its purpose through some unfathomable alien instinct, and snatched it up with its powerful jaws. The squad watched in horror as the stalker dashed away, the beacon clenched firmly in its maw, effectively diverting the imminent orbital strike away from both the Bile Titan and the crucial hatcheries. The stalker's actions, while simple, demonstrated a level of tactical awareness that was unnervingly sophisticated for the Terminids. Realizing the gravity of the situation and the cunning of their enemy, Lucas made a quick, decisive call. "Retreat! Fall back!" he ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. The plan to utilize the orbital laser had failed, and with the Bile Titan still an imminent threat, coupled with the unexpected intelligence of the stalker Terminid, Lucas knew they needed to regroup and reassess their strategy. As Lucas and Alex made their strategic retreat, the air crackled with a sudden, powerful scream through their comms, a stark contrast to the chaos around them. It was Sergeant Noctis, whose presence had been momentarily obscured by the tumultuous events. Amidst the disarray, Noctis had not succumbed to panic. Instead, he demonstrated why he was renowned for his composure under pressure and tactical ingenuity. In a moment of clarity amid the bedlam, he had scaled one of the steep, jagged hills that framed the valley. From his elevated vantage point, Noctis had assessed the situation with a predator's gaze. Understanding the gravity of their failed attempt and recognizing an opportunity that only he could seize, he prepared for a daring and direct confrontation with the Bile Titan. Lucas and Alex, upon hearing Noctis's scream, instinctively turned their gaze towards the source of the sound. What they witnessed was a moment of sheer, unadulterated valor that would be etched into their memories forever. Noctis, embodying the very essence of a Helldiver's courage, was airborne, diving from the hill directly towards the monstrous Bile Titan. The image of his bravery, a lone figure against the backdrop of an alien sky, descending like an avenging angel onto the behemoth below, left both the chief and the cadet in awe. Noctis's body was silhouetted against the harsh light of Fenrir III, his posture one of absolute determination and resolve. He seemed, in that instant, to transcend the chaos of the battlefield, a symbol of hope and defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. As Lucas and Alex watched, momentarily transfixed by the spectacle of Noctis's daring descent, Lucas's experienced eye caught a crucial detail that transformed his awe into a deep understanding of Noctis's plan. Clutched in Noctis's grasp, there was a device, distinct from the standard equipment of a Helldiver. It was another beacon, but not one meant for calling down an orbital laser strike. Instead, Noctis had armed himself with a massive bomb beacon, a device capable of unleashing devastating destruction upon activation. The realization of what Noctis intended to do struck Lucas with a mix of admiration and dread. The massive bomb beacon was among the most potent ordnances in the Helldiver's arsenal, designed for situations that required a decisive, overwhelming response. Its use was a testament to the direness of their situation and Noctis's willingness to embrace extreme measures to ensure their mission's success. Noctis, in his descent, was not merely launching a personal attack. He was transforming himself into the very weapon needed to turn the tide. The bomb beacon, once activated, would initiate a countdown, culminating in an explosion of catastrophic proportions, capable of leveling structures, obliterating enemy formations, and in this case potentially dealing a fatal blow to the Bile Titan itself. The use of such a weapon came with immense risk, not least of which was to Noctis himself. There would be no escape from the blast radius, no chance of survival. His action was the ultimate sacrifice, a willing trade of his life for the success of the mission and the safety of his squad. Lucas and Alex bore witness to Noctis's descent. Their admiration for his bravery and selflessness was abruptly transformed into horror. The Bile Titan, with its monstrous agility that belied its massive form, snapped its powerful jaws around Noctis mid-air. The scene was a brutal testament to the ferocity and unpredictability of the alien behemoth they faced. The sergeant's scream, as he was viciously seized by the creature, was a sound of pure, indescribable agony. It echoed hauntingly across the battlefield, a chilling reminder of the sacrifice and suffering entailed in their fight for survival. The Titan's jaws closed with merciless force, severing Noctis's body in half, a grim spectacle of guts and blood spilling into the air and across the alien's maw. The visceral horror of the moment was a stark contrast to the noble intention behind Noctis's final act. Yet, even in the face of such unimaginable pain and imminent death, Noctis's resolve did not waver. As his life energy ebbed away, his determination crystallized into a final, defiant act of courage. With the last of his strength, Noctis twisted the massive bomb beacon, activating its deadly countdown. Then, with a heroic effort that would be remembered in the annals of Helldiver history, he shoved the device deep into the Bile Titan's gaping mouth, screaming angry, "Have a cup of Liber-TEA!"